Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from today. It's a wonderful Friday morning, and you are welcome once again to our first edition of Living in the Digital World program. Hello. And I'm very sure that you would enjoy this program. And my name is Florence Sofa. I am the Director of Mobile Web Ghana. I'll be your moderator for today. I am presenting from the American corner Agbogba as part of the American Spaces across the world. American Spaces provide access to current and reliable information about the United States, and we are doing this through book collections, internet access, events, and activities for everyone to join. And this activity is one of the events we are doing from the American corner Agbogba. Today, we are going to discuss a very important topic, which is effects of ransomware on businesses. And facilitating this session is Ishmael Yashua. He is a SOC engineer at the National Information Technology Agency of the Ministry of Communications. Ishmael is a SOC engineer, as I mentioned, with NITA, National Information Technology Agency, and has been in the industry for more than 15 years. He is on the mission to help the public understand the risk associated with computer security. During this session, please feel free to type in all your comments at the comment box below, and we will address your comments. Thank you for staying tuned. And now I will hand it over to Ishmael. Ishmael, welcome to the program. And today I'm hoping to learn more about ransomware and its effects on businesses. And as we know, a lot of ransomware can affect our business, can affect our file, can affect our operation, and can cause clients to lose interest in what we do. Please, Ishmael, over to you. I'm ready to learn.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ishmael.
As I was introduced earlier, my name is Ismail Ilushao, and I'm a SOC engineer with NITA. And I'm here to discuss with you, to share with you a little bit of insight that I have been gathering regarding the scourge of ransomware on businesses and everybody as a whole, and the effect that it has on our lives, given that our lives have become very dependent on computers. So I would want you to imagine having a business and having invested a lot in gathering computer records, and people's life also depends on that, on said records. And only one morning for the person to wake up and their record is inaccessible. Imagine going to a hospital that is dependent on computer networks and its associated softwares to profile you diagnosis. But at the end of the day, you wake up one day, you go to the hospital, but you are unable to have your appointment with the doctor, because the system that they use to do the appointments and to do the appointments has been compromised and has been taken ransom by some gangs. So today I'm here to discuss with you the history of how it came about and how to prevent, how you can get infected, and how you can defend yourself against these threats. So without much ado, I would like us to go through this the presentation of that I have prepared. So somebody will ask, what is a ransomware? A ransomware is a kind of malware that employs encryption to hold your information until you make a payment. Some of these malware may lock the system without damaging any files. But more sinister variants of these malwares use technique called crypto-viral extortion by encrypting the victim's file and rendering them inaccessible and demanding ransoms, to ransom payments to get their files decrypted. Mostly, these gangs demand the ransom in a form of a cryptocurrency, such as PaySafe, Bitcoin, or any other cryptocurrencies that are hard for people to track and to be able to unmask those people behind. So we will talk about the history of the ransomwares. The first known ransomware attack was written by somebody called Joseph Pop in 1989, called the ACE Trojan. But the concept that particular malware was badly written, so people were able to get around the safeguard that he has implemented on the malware. So he was like, people were able to get their files back, and he was arrested and prosecuted. But at the end of the day, he was forced to donate the proceeds of the ransom that he has gotten to the ACE research project. So we move forward to 1996 when somebody, two research from the University of Columbia presented a paper at the 1996 IEE Security and Privacy Conference called Crypto Viral Extortion, based on the fiction. Their concept was based on the I don't know if you are aware of Ridley Scott's movie Alien. There is this biological something that will hug your face and inject something into your throat. But those people who are familiar with the movie will understand the analogy that I'm trying to make. But since that research, ransomwares have come a long way, and they have become a serious menace to modern computing. And people ought to be aware of how they can be infected and taken ransom. This is a screen grab of the message that somebody will receive in those days, in case they were infected with the ACE Trojan. And then I think let's go back to a little bit of I don't mean to because I know most of my audience are not familiar with most of these technical stuff. I will just try as much as possible to make it familiar, like very familiar to the average person. In computer security, there is something that they call encryption. Encryption is the art of hiding information so that if you're not the target recipient, you will not be able to understand whatever information that they are trying to communicate. So there are two kinds of encryption. We have symmetric and asymmetric, but we are more interested. Symmetric is like maybe having a password, like encrypting with a password that if anybody knows the password, the person should be able to decrypt the password, the information. But asymmetric key encryption has to do with having two keys, one for encryption and one for decryption. But although the other one can be used to encrypt as well. So assuming I'm having a room that has two keys. One key is there for everybody to use, but you can only unlock the room as long as you have the key. No, you can only lock the room as long as you have the key, but you cannot unlock the room if you don't have the other key. The other key is only used for opening the room. So you can have that analogy. For me to make sense, for me to make a little bit more sense, I think I have a picture that I can show with you, that I can share with you so that you have a fair understanding. So assuming that, let's say Kwame has a message that he wants to send to Amma, and he has, and Amma he doesn't have the private key that Amma uses to, Amma will share a public key that anybody who wants to share a message with Amma can use to encrypt the message. So Amma can use the private key that she has to decrypt the message as long as you used a public key. I believe I'm making sense. So assuming I want to say send hi to Florence, and Florence beforehand has shared a public key with everybody. It's public, and everybody knows that that public key belongs to Florence, and I want to send a message to Florence. So I will use that public message, public key, to encrypt my message and send it to Florence. And Florence will use her private key to decrypt the message. I believe I'm making sense. So
yes, you're making sense.
Similarly, the ransomware, so this is how the ransomware operates. The ransomware uses the asymmetric encryption, whereby they will use a public key to encrypt your message. And they are the only ones with the private key to be able to decrypt the message that your files that they've encrypted. So if you don't pay them the amount that they are demanding, they will not share the private key with you. So I believe this makes it a little bit better. The analogies that I used earlier to try to relate the message that there are people, mostly they are believed to be based in Russia and Eastern Europe, and some of them too are believed to be based in South America. Some of these ransomware gangs are very notorious. For instance, Lockbit, just in 2020, they are responsible for 40% of the ransomware attacks that happened. We have another one called Babook. They are very notorious, but I think they are defunct now. I'm not very sure on that. We have ReEvil. They were very menacing in the year 2021, and FBI had to come in to help obtain the decryption key for people to have their files back. Mostly they attack health facilities and other places. And we have another one called Conti Gang. They are mostly based in Ukraine and Russia, and that gang, they suffered a major leak of their source code, and they became defunct due to them declaring their support for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I believe maybe somebody in there was not very happy with what was going on, so he just leaked their source code, and the gang has since evolved to join other members. And one menacing gang too is called Black Cat Alpha V. They were responsible for the Australian federal state of Carintania near ransom. And there's another one called Blackbuster. They forced the American Dental Association to shut down because they were able to penetrate their system and install the ransomware on their system. These are, so in case you don't know if you have been infected, you would see something like this on your computer, mostly announcing their presence, that they have compromised your system, to show you the methodology that you will use to go and get your files back, the address that you make payment, and how you will get your information back. As you can see, I'm going to hover my mouse over here. If you look at down on your current network has been infected, you see this is the price that you have to pay to get your files back, which is equivalent to 24,000 US dollars, should in case you get your files encrypted. And some of them too have now even started to include the threat, not rendering your files inaccessible, but they will threaten to release your files public, should in case you are having some incriminating files, or maybe you are hosting some publicly personally identifiable information. So in 2020, so far in 2023, we have two major ransom events that are unfolding right now. We are having the Royal Mail, which was the case of which was done by the Lockbit, and we are having a DMV. DMV was, we don't know as at now, because the victim has not been forthcoming with information about who was responsible. DMV is a shipping line service that shipping line service. They are responsible for managing shipping freight based in Helsinki, Finland. I think their shipping manager service was affected by the ransomware, and more than 1,000 ships are not able to communicate to see where they are heading or what they are up to. So I believe you can imagine you have goods on their service, and now they can't access the system to be able to deliver your goods on time. Assuming you are affected, you can imagine how this will affect your business directly and indirectly. So most of the services, now we come to most of the services that the servers that we use to host our services now. Most of our services are based on Linux and Windows, and Linux can be affected as well. So is Android. And of late, because of our dependence on virtualization, mostly from VMware and other places, sometimes you will see that there are malwares that are able to encrypt your ESXi host that is exposed to the internet. Should in case they are able to compromise it, it is able to kill your VMs and encrypt the hard drives. So you can imagine, if I am having a mission critical service running on some ESXi that is exposed to the internet, that is inadvertently encrypted by these ransomwares. And you can imagine how these things will affect your business. And believe me, there are people, even very well-known big enterprises, that have their virtualization platforms exposed to the internet, and somebody might compromise it and get them. And I believe in my previous slide that I was talking about these shipping line and Royal Mail, I believe is one of these vectors that somebody was able to use to enter their system. So we will speak about the attack vectors. Mostly, when we say exploits and vulnerabilities, when somebody, like for instance, let's say computers are very fast, but they are not very smart. They are smart as the person that was able to code the program that they are executing. So programs sometimes have vulnerabilities, and these vulnerabilities sometimes can fester in the system because of some technical difficulties in being able to address them, or just that people are not aware of them, and somebody will find them and try to exploit them. So when I say exploit, there are sometimes there are some of these vulnerabilities are referred to as 0 days, because when somebody finds them, there is no time, or maybe like somebody has just figured out these vulnerabilities and they will write exploits. When I say exploit, they are programs that somebody will write to take advantage of those vulnerabilities. So that, and some of them, they are able to enable somebody to take over your machine remotely. And you can imagine, if I'm able to take over your machine remotely, I should be able to do a lot of things to your machine, including installing ransomware on your systems. I believe in our previous discussions, we discussed about some of these things. I was able to demonstrate how easy it was for somebody to take over your systems remotely. And the second vector is misconfigured servers. Sometimes somebody doesn't know how to configure a server that he's going to expose to the internet. For instance, I might be able to install a Windows server, install a service that I want online. Does not mean that I have been able to install it correctly. Sometimes some people will install it and they will expose their RDP or some very vulnerable services online. And somebody will be able to take advantage of it and take over the system, and they will be able to install ransomware, or maybe even move laterally in your internal network, should in case you are hosting that server internally, so that they will be able to see what they can compromise in addition to whatever they have been able to compromise initially. Sometimes somebody will just compromise your system just to harvest credentials, maybe usernames that you use to log onto your servers, usernames that you use to log onto your services, and your emails or whatever. And some people reuse credentials, and these credentials sometimes get leaked to the internet, and people have been hacked through these kind of vectors. And this brings us to the next one, which is insider threats. Maybe a disgruntled employee, somebody inside has done something and he wants to cover his tracks. He would go and download these ransomwares online because they are widely available on the internet. And sometimes some of them are having affiliates. If I am able to enter your system, I can just download the ransomware. I will deploy it on somebody's network or somebody's computer that I know is liable to pay the ransom. So when the persons pay the ransom, I will get a percentage or a commission. And sometimes some people get infected through phishing. You like these emails that we receive. Benign, you will receive an email with an attachment that looks at like something that you normally deal with. Maybe I'm dealing with invoices. I will receive an email with an attachment, an Excel file or Word file that contains some macros that will download and install some backdoor that will make my system vulnerable to these attackers on the internet, so that they will be able to have access to my system. When they have access to my system and they see that it's a valuable system that they can have access to, then they would use it. They would install ransomware on it and claim their ransom from me because maybe they know I'll pay. There are so many other vectors, but these are the well-known vectors that people get ransom, especially the first. I would not say especially. These are the well-known ones that people have been taking advantage of. I believe my connection is a little bit unstable. So, but anyway. So, how can you defend against ransomware? In an enterprise environment, you should segregate your network. You should not have, and your users are sitting on the same VLANs. You should segregate your networks. Critical servers should be on separate zones or VLANs. Even at home, if you have a well-connected home, you should segregate your network. You shouldn't allow guests to have access to your internal networks. In small office networks, you should have a guest network that whenever somebody comes to your organization, the person should not be allowed to connect to your internal network. You should maintain a regular backup of your data. I believe maybe daily is enough. Daily backups should be enough. And the backups should not be kept on the same device that you take the backups. The backups should be kept on a separate machine on a secluded network. You should also check up on your backups regularly to ensure that they are viable. You should have a state-of-the-art security software installed, such as an antivirus, to be able to detect some of these malwares, because some of these malwares are very insidious, and they, believe me, you would be infected by the time you realize all your files are encrypted. Having a malware antivirus is a must, and Microsoft has been very kind enough to include Microsoft Security Essentials and Microsoft antiviruses that comes for free. Whenever you have Windows, you can have them, and you should take advantage of it to scan and update your system regularly. And also, you should practice safe saving and not to open unknown attachments on your system. If you receive an attachment from somebody that you don't know, I think in our previous encounter, I demonstrated how to scan files that you don't trust, that you receive from people. If you receive a file from somebody that you don't know, you can use VirusTotal to scan and see if sometimes maybe it's novel. You are the first person to receive it. It might not, VirusTotal might not identify it as a malware, but still, if you don't trust it, I don't suggest you open it. So, and also you should also stay informed. You should be able to join these kind of discussions so that you have up-to-date information, so that you will have a very, you will be informed. Basically, you will be informed of the new updates, the new tricks that these gangs are employing to get you infected, so that they can claim ransom on your files. I believe this will bring us to the end of our discussion for now. So if there is any questions, I will be very much available to discuss, to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I believe
Thank you very much, Ismail, for such a wonderful and straight to the point presentation. And I also want to acknowledge our audience on YouTube for joining us for our first session. Juliet, Ada, Enima, welcome. Hilda Anaman, Ima Kwashi, Timothy, joining us all the way from Takrade, Batsan Daniel, joining us from Asia. Bahim, please, you are all welcome to the session. And as we mentioned, you can post your questions and we take it and address them. And Ismail, one of the questions on my table is, why do they choose Bitcoin as their mode of payment? You mentioned that they don't want to be identified. Is that the only reason why they choose Bitcoin as their mode of payment? Ismail, can you hear me? Ismail, can you hear me? Hi. Okay. Okay, so we are still discussing the effects of ransomware on businesses and why businesses must learn to protect their businesses. So we are asking the question, why do they choose Bitcoin? Yes, so Ismail is answering our question.
Hello.
Yes,
Lawrence,
I can hear you.
I'm
yes.
back.
Beautiful. Yeah, so one of the questions is, why do they choose Bitcoin as one of their mode of payment. It's just purely because they don't want to be recognized. Ismail, you can go ahead and answer the question. Yes. Okay, so if you are still watching us, we are discussing the effects of ransomware on businesses. We know that ransomware is a malicious software developed to harm or attack programmable devices. Ismail is answering our questions now. Ismail, can you hear me? Can you go ahead and answer the question? Okay, so please keep posting your questions and I'll pick it up. I'm going on to YouTube to see what our audience are saying. So Juliet, if you have any question, post it and we'll be able to answer your questions. Okay, so please keep posting your questions and I'll pick it up. Ismail, can you hear me now? Okay, we are having some technical challenge with our facilitator. And yes, keep putting your questions. And I want to ask, have you had any experience with virus infections on your device or your business website or on your system? You can share your experience and how you tried to resolve it. Hello, Ismail. Hello, Ismail, can you hear me? Okay, so we know Ismail mentioned, yes, okay, Ismail, you're coming to answer the question. Please go ahead.
Please, I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat it again?
Yes, the question is, why are they choosing Bitcoin as their mode of payment? Is it purely because they don't want to be recognized? That's the main reason why they choose Bitcoin.
I believe Bitcoin provides anonymity because it's a little bit hard for you to track somebody who is using cryptocurrencies. And that is how the cryptocurrencies are designed to give anonymity to people that are using it in the first place. Hello?
Yes, you're live on, yeah, online. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Florence, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead. Okay, I overheard you say cryptocurrencies are designed to give anonymity.
Yes, so anonymity, yes.
Okay, so that's
so
why
if
they
I
use...
was, yes, they are smart. I believe I wouldn't want to characterize them as so, but they are smart business people. If you are taking advantage of somebody, you should want to take your ransom and not get caught in the process so that you'll be prosecuted. You want to enjoy the proceeds of your nefarious activities. Even in real life, when people kidnap people and they are requesting for ransom, mostly they prefer death drops and things. So I believe it's a very wise decision on their part, but at our part is detriment to our interest.
So would you say that we have advanced in terms of technology, and it has also helped, like, would you say like blockchain in itself, it's helping to really help in people developing malicious software?
No, I wouldn't say blockchain on itself is not bad. It's just like BitTorrent. BitTorrent on itself is not bad, but how people choose to use it, that is how we'll determine if it is good or bad. Yeah, but I don't see blockchain as being bad at all, because I believe it has a lot of application into our lives, and then to better the lives of everybody.
Okay. And someone is asking, can you hear my question? Timothy is asking, what if the files, do you need to pay to get your files restored? And the answer is yes. But what if, are there instances where you pay and your files are not restored? Ismail, can you hear me? Are there instances where people pay and their files are not restored? So if you are listening to us, if you've had any experience related to ransomware or virus infections and it has affected your business, share your experience with us, and then what you did to overcome this terrible experience. Okay, Timothy, I would like to hop in the answer. I think when Ismail was presenting, he said that yes, you need to pay a ransom. That's why it's called a ransomware. It means that you really need to pay money for your files to be restored, for your computer to be restored to normal. And so you need to pay money before you get your files, and that is the effect of ransomware. And I think that one of the things that Ismail mentioned that resonated with me, said you shouldn't allow guests to connect to your internet. He mentioned that you should, one of the ways that you can stay safe from ransomware or attacks is to ensure that your guests have a different network that they are connected to. It means that they have access to your network that is posing risk to you. And I'm still taking questions. If you have questions, have you ever got how many of you have virus or have antivirus on your mobile phones? We all run mobile phones, but most of us don't have antivirus software on our mobile phones. Can you share? Have you ever clicked on a file? Have you ever done anything? Have you ever had an experience where your files have been infected before? I would like you to share that with us, and we will be able to take it from here. So I would like to, we were working for a client, and one of the things that happened is he just had a website. Most of, sometimes our websites are content management systems, and content management system means that it's a pre-developed site that you just put together. And so most of these sites have files that you need to update. Most of these files that you need to, if you are using WordPress, you need to go and do an update of the WordPress. If you are using other forms of content management system, you also need to go there and update the website and update the files like a version. So you update a version of the website. So the person's inability to update that website created a hole, like a whole gap, and hackers do use that loophole to attack the website. And if the site was mainly one of the means that customers were reaching out to this business, and it really affected their operation. So the effect of malware on businesses is huge, and for several days, the business was offline, and then we need to do damage control, and it really takes a while to do damage control and to go back. And sometimes when you're sending website to people and it has malware infection, the people with sophisticated application, they're able to see that the website or what you are sending to the website or the link you are sending has a potential malware, and you need to clean it up. And this is some of the reasons why we need to take this education serious, cybersecurity education very serious. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, and then now you can never be an entrepreneur without connecting to the online audience. And so making sure that your businesses are up to date, making sure that if you are running an application online or software application online, is well secured. As things are getting sophisticated, hackers are equally developing crafty means of having access to files or having access to businesses, and they would demand ransom. I remember recently I got an update on my phone. It was an amazing update. Like you could see, they have changed almost everything just to improve the security of the phone. And I think that this is really, really, really important. Have you updated your phone software? These are one of the needs. If your phone is not updated, it's not up to date, it's a potential risk for people to have access to things or files on your phone. It is really a high risk. And I know that most of us ignore the updates on our phones, ignores the updates on our devices, on our computers, and especially for business entities. We cannot allow this to happen because it creates a vacuum, creates a gap for hackers, for people who have developed malicious software and applications to have access to our files, to have access to our device, and to be able to do with our device things that we ourselves, we are not able to. Welcome back, Ismail, and we're just discussing, you mentioned ransomware. We know that, apart from ransomware, there are other issues that people also face, like inability to even update. I mentioned WordPress as a site, like if people have sites and they don't do that, you can touch base on that as well.
Yes, so as I was saying, it's very critical whenever that you see an update on your machine, which means that there are categorizations to it. But I would honestly request that you should update your system whenever you see an update available, because you don't know what the update is coming to fix. Most of them are very critical. You will see that they will say an update is critical, which if you see a critical update, please apply it, because it's there to fix something that might save your life. Assuming, because I myself, I'm in school right now. As I was preparing for this project, I was trying to do a demo for this project. I realized that the ransomware was able to escape from the VM and affect my system entirely. That's why I had to cancel it entirely. I would have done a demo for you to see how easy it is for you to get infected. So updating your system is very important, very, very important. Try as much as possible to use the most recent version of the software that you are using as possible. So imagine I'm hosting my website, as you said, I'm hosting my website on a Linux server that is vulnerable, which is exposed to the internet as well. So somebody is able to take advantage of the server, like exploit it. And the person will be able to install a ransomware on the system. So you will see that whatever you are having on the system is encrypted. And your website too is another vector that somebody can have access to your server to encrypt your files as well. Because somebody will be able to have a code execution exploit. The person will be able to execute code on your server from your web application that you are hosting on the server. So when the person is able to do that, the person will, like, if I want to mess with you, definitely I would definitely install a ransomware on your server to take advantage of it. If I know you will pay the ransom to get back your system. Assuming you are a public service provider that you are collecting data about people, and somebody is able to encrypt those data and people cannot have access to their data. You can imagine how bad how your weekend is going to be very bad. So most of the time you can see a pattern of their behavior. Mostly the times that they encrypt your files are on Mondays, Thursdays, and on Fridays.
Wow.
So on Monday morning, you come as you're about to start work, you will see that your files are encrypted. On Thursdays, you are preparing to go on weekends. So your weekend definitely will be canceled. On Fridays, too. So you can imagine the time that you can see. And for the future, this year, I expect to see a lot of ransomware attacks because I expect to see a lot. Because as you can see, from December to this January, there has been a lot of ransomware attacks. Which is a good indicator showing that there is going to be a lot of attacks very soon. So I would suggest people should take precautions. You should update your systems regularly and ensure that you don't click things that are not supposed to be clicked. Don't click things that you don't trust. Sometimes you can see that these things that I'm going to click is not going to end well, but your curiosity might get the best of you, and you will go and click, and you will end up being a victim.
Okay, thank you, Ismail, for that wonderful response. One of our audience, like, is there a way that if they give you the data, you are sure that they haven't tampered with the data, they have not kept a copy of the data?
Yes.
Yes.
That is why I was saying that now they have graduated from taking you ransom. They threaten to publish your data as well if you don't pay.
Okay.
So whatever you can trust that whatever they have encrypted, because sometimes they will compromise your network. They will be there for a very long time. They don't just enter in and just do that. Sometimes they have to determine whether you are capable of paying. Assuming they compromise, let's say, MTN. They know MTN will be forced to pay because MTN has business requirements to and business commitments to uphold. So MTN will pay. So they will. I saw a very funny news that a ransomware called Lockbit, one of their agent compromised a children's hospital, and as low as we see them, I think maybe some of them have conscience. So they apologized and they offered to decrypt the files for free because they thought, I think that the children's hospital has something to do with cancer patients too. So they are deep down, although they don't have a life, deep down it touched somebody, and somebody was like, no, we don't have to do this. It's children's hospital. We don't have to be doing this. I find it very ironic, though. I find it very ironic that they are doing that. But let's hope God keeps touching their hearts to stop doing that. But your files, trust me, if they compromise your file, they have a copy of it. But I believe honor among thieves. Their honor bounds them to keep not to, if you pay the ransom, not to do whatever they are threatening to do.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. An audience, one of our audience, Juliet, has a question. She wants to know what is the difference between a spam and a malware, and what are some of the attributes or things you should look out for in spam messages.
Spam is just unwanted mail. Somebody sending you an unsolicited mail. I sent you a mail that you didn't request for, telling you or asking you for something that is irrelevant. So, for instance, I send you a mail telling you that I'm selling Viagra. I don't know you, but I send you a mail telling you that I can procure Viagra for you. If I want Viagra, I'll go to the pharmacy to go and buy Viagra. But why are you trying to tell me that you're selling Viagra, or you can give me Viagra in my email? But these ransomware gangs realize that they can use spam emails to get people infected with their malwares. So they use spam to get you infected. Some people have the time to read their mails to the last bit. So it's up to you to know the kind of mails that the business that you do and the kind of mails that you should be receiving. So if you send me a mail asking me to do anything, or like, sometimes somebody will send you a mail telling you that he has hacked your machine and hacked your webcam, and he has seen you do, he has been watching you doing stuff. So he will threaten you to release those videos if you don't pay ransom. Meanwhile, they are lying though. So if you know you are capable of doing those things, you will feel like, oh, I have to pay. Then you go and send the Western, whatever that they're asking you to. So what I will say is, spam is just a means to get you infected, or just to annoy you with some mails that or some messages that you don't want. So it's up to you to determine the line of business that you are doing online, and to know the kind of messages that you will consider to be spam. Sometimes your mail service provider does a great job at sorting out the spam and the legitimate emails. So rest assured. But most of the work, you are the one to do the work. You should know the kind of mails that you are dealing with. Your line of work, if it doesn't fit, just ignore it.
Okay, if it doesn't fit your line of work, if you see things not so related to what you do, just ignore it. And it's not, this brings me to...
And sometimes too, it will fit your line of work. That's where some of these, we call them spear phishing. They know your line of work. So they will send you an attachment that correlates to what you do, but it has been booby-trapped with the malware to get you infected.
Okay.
So the cautions are stage. I'll consider them to be stager. When you graduate to this side, you go to the other side. You should be cautious at each stage.
We need to be cautious at each stage. And so this brings me to another important question. Comparatively, why does it seem, is it more rampant, the attack or the effects of the malware? Is it more prominent in other countries than in other parts of the world? Like here where we live, like it seems that most of us, we don't have any knowledge.
People that will pay.
Okay.
It's not. Hello.
Yes, I'm listening. It's clear. Yes, so the question I'm asking is, mostly in this part of the world, it seems to be, when it comes to cybersecurity, we do not have enough knowledge about cybersecurity. And so I was asking, why does it seem, is it more rampant in other countries than other?
No, it's general. Mostly they target people who can pay. So it's not like it's not just at random. They go around on the internet scanning people's network.
Okay, so they target people who can pay.
Yes, so sometimes maybe they might compromise your machine, but they realize that maybe you are not anybody or something. They might just choose to go away. But there are others, they don't discriminate. They encrypt everybody's file. And there are people like most people don't like organizations don't pay attention to cybersecurity. So they think IT people, general IT people are fit for cybersecurity roles. Yes, you might have your IT guy, your regular IT guy, but if you can afford it, you should get a cybersecurity guy to help you in securing your network, because they are the ones that have been trained in identifying these holes. What a regular IT guy will just consider as benign might be something that might be a sword to your throat.
Okay, if you can afford, it's very important to have an in-house cybersecurity guy to help you navigate around this issue of cybersecurity. But Ismail, what is your advice to businesses? I know you say we should hire one, and sometimes it feels like we are really relaxed when it comes to cybersecurity. Like if you mentioned, even simple updates on our phones and our machines, we really don't take it seriously. Why do you think there is that lackadaisical attitude when it comes to cybersecurity?
Yes, I remember quite some few days, some few months ago, a friend came to me and he was asking, "Is there any restaurant in Accra that accepts Bitcoin?" And I was like, "How many businesses in Ghana operates their business with computers, even let alone for them to even ask for Bitcoins for payment for their services?" So it brings me to the question: most people don't even use computers to run their businesses. It's only the a little bit bigger companies that have ITs. Like they even operate a dual. They have a dual operation. They have a manual section and they have computerized aspect. So it's a little bit dicey for you to gauge. So somebody who does not even have computers infused in his business, it's a little bit hard for you to let him understand the pitfalls of cybersecurity. Even when they do, they think they can't afford, or they think it's not important, it's irrelevant until it happens. Because I've seen people that have fallen victims to these things. They don't pay attention. They think they don't need it. Yes, they think they don't need it for now. Until something happens, that's when you see that people are rushing. But it has already happened.
Until something happens, that is where we realize we need cybersecurity knowledge. And this is one of the ways we are educating you about cybersecurity and why you should really be concerned. And also in this global economy, if you need to do your business online or connect to other people online, even if you're doing your business now, I see a lot of e-commerce businesses on WhatsApp. If you need to do this, you really need to take into account how you can protect your business from malware and other things.
That brings me to this. For the past couple of weeks, people have been coming to me. Somebody has hacked my WhatsApp. Somebody has hacked my WhatsApp. And I've realized that most people get called and they will be asked, "Please, I am so person. I am trying to do this. I have sent you your code. Can you please send me back?" It's the activation code for taking over your WhatsApp. And the person will just send it back willingly. And they will take it over and they will start using your WhatsApp messages to be sending people spam they will use a number to be sending people spam on WhatsApp. Sometimes they will activate the two-factor authentication and they will lock you out. You, the owner of the WhatsApp, they will lock you out. Just I think a few days ago, my nephew came to me. She fell a victim. One of my cousins too, some days prior, she fell a victim to that. The person will call you and ask you for the code. And some people and somebody said the easiest way to get somebody's password is for you to ask him. If I ask you politely, you give it to me. So they were asked politely and they gave it out.
Wow, that's scary. Yes, so you can see that we need to do a lot when it comes to cybersecurity. As I mentioned, there is a lot, I'm sure we will come your way. Time we are running over time. We will come your way again to actually give you more practical ways that you can stay safe online. And this is living in this digital world and the things that we need to know. But before I leave, I want to say thank you to our facilitator, Ismail. Thank you for really educating us and giving us knowledge when it comes to staying safe and also protecting our businesses. It's really a pleasure for us to have you. And before I leave, I want you to know about an amazing online resource that you may find helpful, and this is the eLibrary USA. eLibrary USA is the state-of-the-art digital library with 9 premium electronic databases that includes digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertation. And if you are interested in getting these resources, please sign up using the comment section of the chat box in YouTube. And also, this program is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy, American Corner, Abuja, in partnership with Mobile Web Ghana. And that concludes our program for today. And we are looking forward to having more interesting programs soon. Please follow us on YouTube at U.S. Embassy Ghana for more amazing virtual programs. Thank you all for joining. Stay safe, and we'll connect another time. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.